So what if we are working with patients with HIV and AIDS? What type of exercise testing are we going to do with them? Think about your submaximal exercise testing protocols, such as the 6-minute walk test, the YMCA test, maybe the 1-mile walk test, or another type of treadmill protocols. Most likely, they're probably not going to have a maximal treadmill test ECG protocol with Bruce protocol. That would be up to a physician whether he or she wanted to order that or not, but most likely we would be doing fitness testing more so for functional assessment and so that we could develop a program for them. And then if you want to do any muscular fitness testing, do maybe, don't do the 1 RM, but look at the amount of weight that they can lift for 3 or 6 or 10 RM. If the person's more fit, maybe you could do something like the push-up test or do the YMCA bench press or a crunch test. But, that would really depend on the person's individual fitness level. But typically, submax protocols, think about, where you would end up being and what type of protocol would be best, whether it would be walking, treadmill, submax treadmill or submax cycle protocols. So here is the FITT from the ACSM guidelines. And you could see a lot of these things are really no different than what you'd see for the general population. Aerobic exercise frequency 3 to 5 days a week. Resistance exercise 2 to 3 days a week. Starting out at moderate intensity of heart rate reserve or VO2 max. 8 to 10 repetitions, 60% of 1 RM. So maybe that's the higher repetitions, maybe around 10 repetitions. But people may need to do multiple bouts, progress working up to 30 to 60 minutes depending on their disease state. 10 to 12 exercises, 2 to 3 sets. So a basic program like that will take them about half an hour. So we're looking at about an hour workout. Do people have osteopenia or osteoporosis if they've been on drugs like prednisone? So make sure they're getting weight-bearing activities. You want to watch out for places where they could bleed, such as, rock climbing. So the rock climbing wall would not necessarily be good for them. Or, performing in combat type sports like martial arts. Much slower progression. So just like with many of the chronic conditions we've talked about this semester, you would probably want to progress people at about half the rate that you would do for a normal, healthy adult. But, they don't have, any data that indicate that exercise training is harmful for persons for HIV. So, people should be able to improve. You have to be mindful, just as if, say someone was a cancer survivor, that their health status can change very, very quickly. And then start out at the lower limits of frequency, intensity, time, and then much slower progression than what you would do for a normal, healthy adult. So understand the current data for HIV, who are the populations that are disproportionately affected by ethnicity and race, where, how do rates of infection compare between large cities versus rural areas and smaller cities, how men and women have different rates of transmission, and that we can do exercise training and testing using mostly submax protocols, and that we need to be very slower in our progression of exercise, and that people can have complications and we have to worry about their immunosuppression. So when talking about these protocols, see if you can figure out which one is the one that you would not want to do with someone with HIV status. I think that one kind of stands out pretty well here.